We just want to take a look at how far he has come, and we're calling this the 9 lives of Tunoi because he has survived quite a bit. Now, before we even get started, let me just tell you about this individual. He's the most senior member of the Supreme Court. 29 and a half years of continuous service in the judiciary, started off in the High Court, rising through the ranks to the Supreme Court judge. He was earning 22,000 when he started, now earning 750,000 shillings as a Supreme Court judge. Now, when Aaron Ringera looked into the conduct of judges, about half of them were sent home. He was able to survive that one. Came the second round now, headed by Justice Sharad Rao, that's the Judges and Magistrates Vetting Board. He was able to survive that one. Now, let me just give you some background on this. At this point now, the Supreme Court had come into being, and they promised to take a look at some of the cases that people had issues with in the judiciary. The Rai family and the media owner SK Macharia had raised complaints against Tunoi at that point. Now, when he went before the Sharad Rao committee, he said that if given a chance, he would make things right. Now, remember, in that case against Rai, the Rai Plea Company in Eldoret, he had recused himself twice before. But when it came before him at the Supreme Court, he chose to sit on the bench. And lawyer Feroz Noriji asked him to disqualify himself because he had recused himself twice before. He claimed he didn't remember why he had recused himself in the first place and therefore sat on that case. And this was after he was in the clear, after the vetting that was done by Justice Sharad Rao. He then dismissed those appeals by both Rai and Macharia. That was stage 2. Now here we are. A pending court case on his retirement. Supposed to retire at the age of 70. He is now 72. When the JSC made that directive to him, he refused. Now, there's also a bit of a conundrum here because there was a case, of course, the one that was filed by Nick Salat in the Bomet senatorial case, and his lawyer wrote to the CJ in confidence, asking whether the cases against or the impending retirement of Rawal and Tunoi would affect the case. They then used this letter in their own petition to say that the JSC had no standing and no powers over the judges. The CJ, of course, reprimanded them for this one. That case remains in court. He remains on the bench because of court rulings that allow him to continue to serve whilst this case is being determined. Here we are now. The JSC has asked the president to form that tribunal to investigate him. On this, the president has no choice according to law. He has 14 days to put that tribunal together. Whether he will face the tribunal, he has said this weekend that he will do that. Well, let us see whether he will go before the tribunal. Now, what's interesting is that should he choose to retire, he will take home a lump sum of 22 million shillings. And he claims he has 15 million shillings in savings and 2,000 goats that he will retire to, should it come to that. Will he face the tribunal? Which way for him? Well, we will be getting comment on this from someone who's made some own allegations of his own. Was it 200 million shillings or was it more? We will have Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi to talk more about this developing matter in the judiciary.